set up?
Yeah, I just set up now. Can you just start live streaming?
I just did.
Okay, let me check. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. It's coming.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for interruption. Okay. Hello, masters. Welcome to our energy management. The way how we gain or lose energy. So we have covered certain important aspects of how we gain or lose energy by eating. But there are 9 points that I have covered, but the next point I'm going to cover is by touch. So how do we lose energy is when we touch without any consciousness, like touching unnecessarily, right? Like we don't have to touch anybody unnecessarily. Yeah. So that's where you lose energy. We gain energy when we touch someone with utmost sneha puritanga. That means like if you are touching very friendly manner, that's where like you can gain energy, that you can feel somebody is touching without any proper intentions, then you feel very irritated. And when somebody is really touching with a good intentions, like you feel like okay, you are gaining energy, right? So always kids, we have to touch kids with a gentle hug. And the pets, the plants, um, and whatever we have, our indoor plants or outdoor plants, we have to touch gently. That's the way of gaining energy, through the touch. And with people, we can have a good frame shake hand. That also increases our energy by the touch. The 10th one is, how do we lose energy? By doing things, way of doing things, పనులు చేసే పద్ధతి. So if you are doing anything which has no interest or no creativity, or without any systematically, then we lose energy. So suppose if I am cooking, I'm just cooking something, you lose energy. I mean, that recipe will not come out properly, that's a different story. But you don't even feel good about it. That's whenever you feel good, oh, I'm doing something. And how do we gain energy is, whatever we are doing, everything, if you are doing as a creative, as much as creative, and as much as like a systematic, as much as scientific, శాస్త్రీయతంగా మార్చుకోవచ్చును. సో శాస్త్రీయ పద్ధతిలో చేస్తే అప్పుడు మనకు శక్తి అనేది వృద్ధి చెందుతుంది. అలా చేసినప్పుడు భౌతిక శరీరం యొక్క శక్తి హెచ్చింపబడుతుంది. దట్స్ హౌ వి gain the energy. The important aspect is, whatever we're doing, do it at most consciousness. The consciousness is a very, very, very eruka, is a basic fundamental thing that helps us in retaining energy. Okay, if you are not gaining energy, that's okay. We don't want to lose energy, and we wanted to conserve energy what we have already. So having doing everything with utmost consciousness. And when we are doing anything, try to understand the reason, the logic, try to understand the beauty behind that. That's where like everything we try to do creatively, then ప్రతి విషయంలోనూ సృష్టికర్త యొక్క కళాత్మకను సమర్థతను చూడగలగాలి. సో whenever we are doing, suppose we are learning a new thing, then yeah, I'm learning a driving, for example. So if you understand, okay, how the different aspects work, right, and what's the logic behind it, or like how beauty of driving, right? So if you enjoy every aspect of it, then that's where you gain energy. Otherwise, the same thing, the the type of activity or the work what we are performing is the same thing. But if we are doing with utmost consciousness and trying to go and understand in the much more deeper way, trying to understand the logic, that's how you gain energy. Or like if I get a very expensive car also, if I am not in a consciousness state, and I'm just doing out of like at a bodily level or without any putting any senses, we don't enjoy. That means we are losing energy. So it's the how we do things. And then the last one, the 11th one is about, sorry, we have 12, last but one, is about way of thinking, alochana vidhanam. So the way we think, so unnecessarily thinking, we will lose energy. That means unnecessarily in the sense, there is no need over there. We keep uh, thinking about that. అశాస్త్రీయంగా ఆలోచన ద్వారా మన శక్తి కోల్పోతుంది. శాస్త్రీయంగా అవసరమైనంత వరకే ఆలోచించడం వల్ల శరీర శక్తి అపారంగా సంరక్షించబడుతుంది. దట్ మీన్స్ you think it is the utmost, the best currency in this universe is our energy. If we are not conserving our energy, that means we are it's and the currency is not about the dollars. The currency is the universal energies. Our universal currency is the energy. So if we are thinking unnecessarily, then we lose energy. So always think శాస్త్రీయంగా ఆలోచించాలి. అంటే సంఘటనల్లో కార్యకారణ సంబంధాన్ని తెలుసుకోవడానికి ఆలోచించాలి అంతే. సో ఇన్ ద సెన్స్ లైక్ there is one incident happened. So what is that? Suppose if anything that is giving the in-depth reason behind what has happened, that improvise the energy in the sense like కార్య కారణ సంబంధాన్ని. సో అత్యవసరమైనప్పుడు ఆలోచించాలి, అనుకున్నంత మాత్రమే, పరిష్కారం దొరికేంత వరకు తీవ్రంగా చివరి వరకు ఆలోచించాలి. సో ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ట్రయింగ్ టు సాల్వ్ సంథింగ్, దెన్ యూ కీప్ థింకింగ్ in depth, but do not think something which is not required over there. So if there is nothing to think, just relax. In the sense, we can completely shut down our mind and go into different ways of either you are playing or you are singing or you're dancing or you're listening to the music with completely relaxing. So this is the other one, how do we save energy. The last one is how do we listen, different ways of listening. అశాస్త్రీయంగా అనవసరమైన విషయాలు వినడం వల్ల, సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ ఆమ్ లిస్నింగ్ టు సంథింగ్ విచ్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఎట్ ఆల్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు మై సెల్ఫ్, then we lose energy. But when you are listening something which is, these are all sounds very very simple, very very easy, but it's not at all easy in implementing our day-to-day life. If you are listening, suppose a very habit is about switching on the TV and then doing the work. It's a noise. I know it's people say, oh, it goes on that way and I do my work. No, it's point percent also it will disturb your energy, like because you are receiving that, right? If you are sitting and enjoying the movie, that's a completely a different story. So just for an example I'm giving. So when we listen to the unnecessary things, are like which is not helping me, right? So the important aspects here is వితర్కాన్ని, ఎప్పుడు వితర్కాన్ని, అనవసరమైన విషయాల్ని వినకుండా, do not listen to anything that is not required. Always listen to the good music. Always when we are listening, we have to be in a state that we are completely in a sunya sthiti. That means you are completely in a neutral state. So there is something called active listening. Active listening is not about You're putting all of the senses in the other person what he is talking. Active listening is completely shutting down all of our internal process. Whatever is happening inside of us, let's stop it. That's when we should receive what other person is saying in the similar way, where we are not trying to interpret in our own ways. We are not listening to respond. That's so sir gave it, it's a big topic of active listening. So he is, sir, Patri sir has given in one single line, Sunya Manashkulai. That means at a neutral state. That's when we should be able to grasp the Saramsha completely. And whoever talk less, they listen more. And Sajjana Sangatya, Satyavaku. So for this, at least we should dedicate our time, 1 hour of time for Sajjana Sangatya and Satyavaku. So the next one, what I'm going to talk is the cycle. It's very interesting cycle. How so far we talked about how we lose energy or how we gain energy, right? So out of these 12 points, one is through body, through the food, what kind of food we are taking, what kind of water we are drinking, and how we are drinking and how we are eating, and how we are talking, whether we are talking right things. And 4 is what we are seeing, and 5 is are we sleeping right, and 6 is are we breathing right, and 7 is like what kind of a career we are we enjoying our career, or do I like my career, or how we are behaving, and kind of a touch we are transferring the energy to. Do not touch anybody with, even it is not required. So, and because I've seen this, many people just come and just hit and talk, not required. We don't have to touch the other person without uh, and then what kind of work we do, our thought process, and how what we are listening. So the last cycle I wanted to say is, okay, we have preserved our energy, right? We have, with so much of difficulty, with so much of consciousness in my day-to-day life, how I am performing all of this, the moment I get up and the moment I go to the bed, like from food, from water, by what I'm seeing, what I'm talking, what I'm listening, how I'm thinking, and what kind of a job I'm doing. So by all this, being in a consciousness state and stopping whatever the drain happening, right? And then we conserve energy by avoiding it with lot of difficulty. When we conserve energy, then we become successful. When we become successful, samarthavantanga, then we'll be happy. When we are in happy state, then what happens? We are in utmost satisfaction. When you go to that satisfaction, again we generate the energy, right? So you are actually multiplying the energy by having to have this the 12 checklist, and you're doing the bigger tasks. So it's a cycle. So but if the cycle is broken, and again you have to go back and gain the energy. It's all about the energy management, which is given in a very very simple terms. It is not a topic that it's not about a new thing or a new scientific thing that we know, but it's very simple things in our day-to-day life happens. But it's very easy to go into that loop and drain energy. The best way to understand or identify how we drain energy is by through our emotion, because sometimes we get carried away, but emotion will never. It's very easy to identify. If I'm getting irritated, why am I getting irritated? That means I lost my energy. Or if I'm getting not feeling comfortable on anything, what is happening over there? that means I lost my energy. So if we are aware of our emotions, any low level emotions, then immediately stop doing what we are doing, and then come to the consciousness state or being in aware state. So friends, this is about 12 ways of how do we lose or gain energies by doing this 11 things consciously, 12 things consciously in our day-to-day life. Okay, we are at time. I know next one I wanted to talk about, there is other things also in this book which talks about who is an enlightened master. There are other 3-4 topics, but we'll stop here. If you have any questions, we can talk. I will stop the live. So